Okay, so a lot of this tutorial I'm going to go really fast through because we've done this already. Okay, so I'm going to first off I'm going to duplicate this joint twice, and I press Control D twice. I'm going to go back to my regular hypergraph view, and I'm going to press F to frame it. Here's my two duplicates. I'm going to parent one to the other. I'm going to parent this one to the wrist helper. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to parent the wrist tip to the wrist tip. That's what I wanted to do. Okay, and then I'm going to grab this joint and translate it out in Z, or X, I mean, sorry. And we're going to get this joint here to point to this joint here. Okay, so let me start relabeling. So this is the wrist tip. I'm trying to remember what my naming convention, just so be consistent. Wrist aim at is what I used on this particular rig. So I'll use that again. Okay, so I'll use wrist tip, aim at wrist. Joint. And I'm going to end up deleting this one. I don't need it. This is just so I can verify what's going on. I need to create an up vector object. Create locator. I'm going to parent that parent that locator to the wrist tip, and then set its translates to 0 so I can snap it to the wrist and then translate it straight up. Okay, so this is the wrist tip, aim at wrist underscore up vector. Okay. Now I'm going to get this, make the constraint. So if I select the wrist helper joint, but I want to use the tip of it, and then I shift select the wrist tip, aim at wrist, left joint, and then I can go to my constrain menu, constrain, aim, go to my options box, and I've got my, rather than try to type that out the same way, I'm using my up vector is Y. My aim is going to be positive X, so X should start pointing over here after I do this. And let me get my up vector object. It says act like I'm going to rename it just so I can copy the name. And I'm going to paste it in here. And I lost my selection, so I need to get my selection back. So driver driven, we'll select my wrist helper tip joint. And then the wrist tip and aim at wrist. Oh my goodness, what voice. and then click add. Okay, so I can see that it swapped around. It swapped around and now it's pointing at the that joint. Okay, I need to do the same thing here at the elbow. So I'm going to go ahead and select this locator. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to parent it to the elbow. Then I'm going to zero out all the rotations and the translates to pop it to that location. Move it straight up. The amount doesn't really matter. You got to rename it appropriately. This is the elbow. Elbow, aim at wrist, up vector. Okay, and I need to duplicate this elbow a couple times. Delete all of its children. Parent this that way, and then I need to parent my elbow. My new elbow, let me go ahead and rename it so it's not so mysterious. Joint, and this is the elbow, look at wrist. Actually, I need to rename all these. This should actually say, and I'm going to go, I won't do this on video, but I need to rename all these to look at the wrist helper tip joint. Okay. Okay, then I'll parent this to the wrist anim. Pressing P. Okay. I'm going to translate this in X. And I should see this joint here start to point at this location instead. Here in just a second. So I'm going to select the tip joint. I'm going to select the elbow aim at wrist helper tip joint. And go to constrain, aim. And this is the elbow and aim to wrist helper tip. And then click add. I probably misnamed that. Okay. So let me just grab this. Copy. Oh. Yeah, so I didn't rename it yet, so it already threw me off. So I need to go back and rename all those appropriately. Anyway, so I have the correct selection still. And then I'll click add, and I can see that it actually points to that joint now. So my next step is to get rid of this joint here. Don't need that one. And I don't need this one. I need to create a piece of geometry that goes between this area here. So I'm going to go create polygon